Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our Automation in a Day series. I'm Iman Malik, and I'm a Power Platform functional consultant here at Prismware Technologies. Let's recap the previous modules. You created a cloud flow that's triggered to run automatically whenever a new invoice email arrives at the email inbox. The cloud flow extracts the invoice details, data from the attachment invoice file by using the AI builder. And then it sends an approval request to a human supervisor to confirm that it's real and ready to process. Then, the Cloudflow runs a desktop flow to enter the invoice details in the Contoso Coffee Shop invoice management desktop application. Finally, the Cloudflow responds with confirmation to the vendors who sent the invoice. In today's module, we will complete an end-to-end automation to process the incoming vendor invoices for the Contoso Coffee Shop. In this module scenario, you have learned that Contoso Coffee Shop also needs to complete another step after processing a new incoming invoice. They need to record the invoice information into an existing Microsoft Excel file, which other departments use for auditing purposes. Furthermore, if you're working in an international branch in Europe, you're required to convert the invoice amount from USD to Euro by using a real-time currency conversion rate. And then you will need to log the converted amount into the Excel file. The Microsoft Power Automate for desktop application can also help you complete this type of task because it can automate against Windows applications and against any website. Let's dive in today's lab, where you will extend a Power Automate desktop flow to write notes into the Excel. In your Power Automate solution that you've created for invoice processing, you will open the desktop flow that we created in the previous session by the name of entering an invoice and launch it in the Power Automate for desktop application where it will open this flow. And now you will create a subflow for this entering an invoice desktop flow. In your subflow name, you cannot have spaces, so we will write it as write underscore notes underscore in underscore Excel. So instead of spaces, I have used underscore. Now in the actions pane on the left hand side, you will navigate for Excel and you will click on launch Excel. And now from here you will select and open the following document, and over here you will give the document path by clicking on this icon. And you will select the Excel file for invoices and accounts for the Contoso invoicing. And now you will click on save. Now from the actions pane, we will select get first free column and row from Excel and we'll click on that. Now we will use the default settings for the get first free row and column from Excel worksheet action and then select save. This action retrieves the number of first free row and the first free column and then stores them into the variables. Make sure you get this in your flow, and once you have this in your flow, you will add write to Excel worksheet option, and once you've selected that, in your value to write you will click on X and you will select invoice ID option from here. In the column you can write A, and then in the row you can select first free row, and then you will click on save. Using the same process that we did for the invoice ID, you will create the actions for account, contact, and the amount. And your subflow should look like this for writing the notes in Excel. And once your subflow starts to look like this, you will click on save. Once your flow is saved, you will navigate to your main flow that is for entering an invoice, and in your flow control in the actions pane, you will see the run subflow and you will drag and drop this in the very bottom of this flow. And once this opens, you will select the subflow that you've created, that is write notes in Excel, and you'll click on save. Once this is saved, we will also save the main flow that we have created, and we will run and test this flow. Once you hit run, what will happen is it will open the Contoso invoicing application. Just as we've seen, it will run the application and the flow will run as it did previously in the sessions. And what it will do is it will create the new record in the Contoso invoicing desktop applications, enter all the details, and then it will run the subflow in the Excel sheet. And now let's see the record that it has created. So now in the Excel sheet, when you compare, it has created the record for the wingtip cups with the same invoice ID. And that is how you create a subflow in the Power Automate for desktop. Now, let's explore web automation to convert the total amount into another currency and then add this conversion into the Excel documents. For this, we will create a new subflow and name it as currency underscore converter. Click on save. Once you have that opened, you will go into the actions pane and you will click on browser automation, and in the drop down you will select launch new Microsoft Edge. In the dialog box, let's add an initial URL for the currency converter and then click on save. Now expand the web form filling option and click on populate text field on web page. The browser instance has already been added. In the UI element, we will add a UI element. Now, in the input text, you will select the area where the USD amount has been added, and you will click on the control key on your keyboard and then click here. Now open the desktop application and you will see the following dialog box. Click on X to select the variable it corresponds to, and we will select the amount variable. Once this is selected, we will click on save. Now after this has been added, we will go to web data extraction and we will select get details of element on web page option, and from in this option we will select the UI element and we will add a new UI element over here. Now you will select the input text. You will click on control on your keyboard and click on the input text. In the variables produced, click on this and rename this to converted AMT and click on save. Now we will select the variables that we have added and we will remove the dollar symbol from the amount. So we will click on the three ellipses and click on edit, and we will remove the dollar symbol and click on save. Let's see if our conversion is working correctly. Now click on the three ellipses over here and we will click on run from here. Once your flow starts running, it should populate the amount over here and your currency gets converted. So we added a $500 amount and the currency is now converted. Once the subflow for currency converter has been saved, navigate to write notes in Excel subflow, and from here we will copy this action, copy and paste it over here. And now we will edit this action And in the value to write, we will remove the amount and we will select the variable. From flow variables, we will select the converted amount that we created, and from here we will change the column to E and we will click on save. Once both subflows are saved, we will navigate to the main flow, go to flow control and drag and drop the run subflow in the extreme end, and we will select the subflow for currency converter and we will click on save, and we will save the main flow as well. Now we will run and test this flow. Now what you will do is you will move the subflow for currency converter on top of the right nodes in Excel, and now you will run the flow. Once we run the flow, the Contoso invoicing application opens, and now it will run the desktop flow by entering the details. Once the record has been created, it will now open the web application for currency conversion, and now it will convert the amount that we had added, which was $500. It will automatically convert the amount, and now the Excel sheet will open with the information, which was basically the subflow that we created. Once the Excel sheet is open, you can see it has created the record number 1040, and the converted amount for the dollars, which was $500 converted to euros, is 457.25, which has been added in column E. Thank you for attending the session today. Today you have learned how to create subflows and automation to record invoice information into an existing Excel file. You also learned how to convert invoiced amounts from one currency to another by using real-time currency conversion rates, and then you log the converted amount into the Excel file. I am sure this series of automation in a day was very informative and helpful. Stay tuned for more exciting series by Prismware Technologies.